If you need any Xbox or PlayStation codes or any cheap PC games, use the referral link in the description. It will take you over to g2a.com. They already have a discount on most of their goods, and if you use the code CHES at checkout, you can get yourself an extra 3% off as well. Hey guys, how's it going? Ches back again, and welcome to episode number 18 of the Valencia Career Mode series here on FIFA 16. We made a new signing in the last episode, and we also asked who should we sign next for the potential striker position and in centre of midfield. We definitely want to move on Javi Fuego and replace him, and at present we're unsure, heading into this episode, whether we are or are not going to be moving on Alvaro Negredo. Now, we will find out in due course what happens. As you can see, we have some centre mids available that we could try and pick up, and some strikers as well, the majority of which were suggested by you guys in the comments section of the previous episode. So again, thank you very much for your help and support when guiding me in the right direction with regards who to pick up and what we should actually do with this squad. We do actually get an offer in for Javi Fuego after I put him on the transfer list from Arsenal. I don't know whether he would suit Arsenal's style of play. He seems a little bit too slow off the mark, and his first touch isn't that good, but he's decent in the past, so maybe he would suit Arsenal's style of play. Maybe he could be like a Mikel Arteta replacement. Not that Mikel Arteta is actually any good in an Arsenal shirt, but still, we in the end are trying to work out a deal for him. He's valued at 7, and I tried to get as much as I possibly could for him to maximise the amount of money we'd have left to go towards bringing in A, a replacement for Javi Fuego, and B, potentially using some money plus Alvaro Negredo when looking for that new striker deal or striker position. So the first game of the episode is away from home in the snow against Deportivo La Coruña. They're a side that could cause us a few problems. It's at 9th in the table right now, so they're not having the best of seasons, but at the same time they're not having the worst of seasons. And I guess considering the size of the club, they're actually having a pretty good season by their standards. They were loitering around the relegation zone in real life the past couple of years, and then prior to that they were actually in Liga Adelante. You go back 10, 15 years or so, and Depor actually were a really solid side for a couple of years in European competition as well as in domestic La Liga in Spain. But they're starting off on the front foot here. Borges is going to have the shot that's well blocked. Keeper seems quite comfortable that was going to go wide. I wasn't as confident there as it was looping towards the far top corner. I was a little bit nervous as it dropped past the post, but luckily it did drop past the post, and when they did shoot on target, Diego Alves was able to make the save himself anyway to keep them out after 14 minutes. They started off on the front foot though, as you've seen. 2 chances early on. Coming down the right-hand side though, our Valencia, ourselves, Carlos Vela gets the ball from Paco Alcacer. Nice turn inside by the Mexican. Bursts past the second man as well. Went for this shot but got caught by Arribas. Good block. And then Andre Gomez's eventual shot flashes past the post to far side. I was told in the comment section of the previous episode that I was perhaps trying to use Vela in the wrong way. It was pointed out to me that I kind of play, when I have a player out wide that can cut inside onto a stronger foot, it's a very valid observation and very true as well. I do this. I try and play like Robin. I turn inside and then just try and barge past as many players as possible to then shoot and score a goal, rather than maybe looking for the more opportune passing moments that might arise whilst doing that. So I'm going to try and alter the way that I play with a wide player. And, rather than cutting inside and driving forwards to shoot on goal, maybe cut inside to look for a pass to a teammate who's rushing forward from midfield, perhaps, to then give us a goal. Unfortunately, even when we have a decent chance from a set piece, the keeper comes out and misses it. We've beaten the goalkeeper, but we can't get it into the back of the net regardless because it came back off the woodwork, unfortunately. 70 minutes in now. Depor still having a little bit of a foray forward down the left-hand side here. Borges into Rodriguez. That flashes just past the post. Actually went out for a goal kick. It wasn't saved by Alves. I thought they'd actually picked up a corner there, but we're in stoppage time now at the very end of the half. Juan Fran gets somehow a 360 spin on the defender. Shot is well saved initially by Diego Alves, but it's dropped straight back to Cartavia, and they get themselves a 1-0 lead with quite literally the last kick of the game. They kicked off, and the referee blew his final whistle. That was it, all told. Deportivo 1, Valencia 0. I can't stop yawning for some reason, so I'm just going to power through. The £8 million bid for Javi Fuego was accepted by Arsenal. He's going to be leaving us and going to the London club. So we've got a little bit extra money now to spend for a potential striker, but we're going to try just a straight swap deal like we did with Faguli for Vela. We'll see if we can do the same with Abubakar for Alvaro Negredo. Ayoze Perez is only valued at 3.3, so they would make no sense whatsoever to offer Negredo as a swap for him. So we'll try and just offer money, and maybe we can move to pick up him. We'll also offer Alvaro Negredo for Giovanni Dos Santos, powering through. And we'll see what happens there. And Rafinha, we're looking to maybe use some money for him now that Javi Fuego's actually left and we've got the money in for him. We'll see if we can actually spend money on a midfield replacement, because obviously we can't use Javi Fuego as make-weight for the deal because he's already gone to Arsenal. Looking at William Carvalho as well, we already have Thiago Alcantara at the club, obviously, and Rafinha is his brother. So if we were able to bring Rafinha in, we'd have both Alcantara brothers at the club, albeit one, Thiago, represents Spain at international level, and Rafinha elected to represent Brazil. So they actually have two different nationalities, despite the fact that they are brothers. But we had offers accepted for Ayoze Perez. The Alvaro Negredo straight swap for Vincent Abubakar was not accepted. I had to offer an extra couple of million there just to see if we could tempt them to accept the deal. The straight swap was accepted for Giovanni Dos Santos, though, offering him a contract, so we could potentially bring in Dos Santos and Ayoze Perez at this rate. The offer initially was rejected for Rafinha of £8 million, which was effectively the exact same amount that we brought in for we got for Javi Fuego, although I only get about 75% of the £8 million added to my transfer budget. And Sporting rejected the offer for William Carvalho as well. Going to have to go back in for him, and he actually has interest in him from a couple of other sides. So it's going to be touch and go whether we can actually get William Carvalho at this point. But as you can see, the offer of £2 million plus Alvaro Negredo was accepted by Porto for Vincent Abubakar. A similar sort of player to Negredo, very strong physical, good shot, decent feet, but a lot quicker than Negredo. He's basically a Negredo with pace. But Ayoze Perez contract was accepted, but we're going to stall for now just to wait and see what happens elsewhere. Gio dos Santos also accepted the contract, but again, we will stall for now because Abubakar is my preferred option at striker. Again, the bid for Rafinha and the bid for William Carvalho were both turned down, so we'll have to put in fresh bids for both of the midfielders. You can see here offering £14 million in the end for Rafinha, Alcantara, and I think I put 17 in for William Carvalho. I believe we offered 15 and they want 26, so I think in the end I went for 17 or 18, and we'll see, 18, and we'll see what they say to that, Sporting Lisbon. But we are able to offer Rafinha a contract now. They did accept the £14 million bid, and we'll have to wait and see if he accepts that contract offer. Before we find out what happens with those new signings, though, we'll jump into another game in La Liga against Real Sporting, or Sporting Gijon, whichever way you'd like to pronounce it, or say their particular name. They are in 18th at present. Depor up to 8th, sorry, after their victory over us. So I was kind of hoping that we could bounce back, especially against a side that are a lot lower down in the division. In, well, arguably better conditions. It's maybe better to play in the rain than it is in the snow, but it's still not nice to play in any sort of conditions that have difficult circumstances for the players on the pitch. But I always feel more comfortable in the rain than I do in the snow, but I'm still not very comfortable in the rain. But still, we'll push forward and we'll see how we get on. Alen Halilovic on loan from Barcelona at Cam for them. So they do have a very creative option in that central attacking midfield spot, so we'll have to be wary of that. But Nacho's first touch here, Nacho Caceres, his first touch is terrible. Danny Parejo picks his pocket, races away. Could have played the through ball, decided to have the shot from distance instead, but it was well saved by Cuella. Very well done down low to keep us out. Palmed it safely to a teammate as well. Not really too sure what the intention was with a header back across goal from their attacker there. They do in the end get it back through Halilovic into Caceres, who just made the mistake to lead to the chance at one end, and then it's just an absolute scramble that eventually ends up with the ball being picked up by Diego Alves. Very well done there, eventually picking the ball up to stop them from scoring. Rodrigo into Thiago Alcantara, quickly to Alcacer, and really nicely placed in the bottom corner to give us a 1-0 lead after half an hour. That was a very nice move actually. We picked the ball off them, and then a couple of 1-2 touch passes and a nice finish from Paco gives us that 1-0 lead. A one-touch pass into the man there, then a one-touch pass, and settles himself with the second touch bearers it in the bottom corner. Paco, very nicely done. A 1-0 lead we have now, and that's exactly what we needed just before half-time. Again, loose passing from the not Deport, we played them in the last game, from the Sporting backline. Rodrigo almost gets on the block to keep it in and try and play it back across goal for a teammate, but in the end it goes out for a corner. Dani Parejo will take said corner, and it's actually Andre Gomez that wins the header that gets well saved down low by Coelho. His goalkeeping has been very impressive so far in this one. It could be 3 or 4-0 by this point. Into the second half we go, though. It's time for them to push forward. Laura dancing past the player, and actually very good goalkeeping at the other end by Diego Alves. It was a battle of the goalkeepers in this one. It was only a top finish by Paco that meant that we'd actually taken the lead. Otherwise, both goalkeepers have been playing very well indeed, as they were in the first game actually against Depor. That definitely was a free kick, though not a penalty on the edge of the box. I was unsure initially whether it was on the line or not, and it was so close. You can see maybe even you could argue it was on the line, which technically is inside the box. But we get the free kick. Thiago is going to take it himself after being fouled, and he scores it. So brilliant. Even if it had been a penalty, we'd have perhaps been more likely to score, but even though it was a free kick, we still get the goal. So I mean, I can't really complain too much, can I? Perez on the attack down the right hand side though for Sporting before the end of the half. Whips in a good cross actually. Great save by Diego Alves. Pushes it onto the post. Unfortunately, it comes back off the post onto his back, and then is just sat there waiting for the arriving Hernandez to put it into the back of the net to make it 2-1. But that wasn't enough to stop us from getting the victory. So 2 last-minute goals in the games today. Fortunately, the second one wasn't as costly as the first, or in fact anywhere near as costly as the first. But we're talking of cost. We're spending £2 million and another 14 to bring in Rafinha Alcantara and Vincent Abubakar. They'll be joining us for the remainder of this first season here at Valencia, and Rafinha will be perhaps starting alongside his brother sooner rather than later if he can put in a good couple of performances. I stalled here with Perez. In the end, I didn't follow through with that particular deal. I was going to try and glitch the system like you've been able to do previously, and get Negredo as a straight swap deal for Giovanni Dos Santos, as well as using him in the Abubakar deal by using or buying them on the same day. But they must have patched it because it didn't let me do it. But you can see their big deals gone through. Hugo Lloris from Spurs to Sevilla, which is a big deal actually. That could make or break Sevilla's season and Spurs' season in actual fairness. And another one there, as you can see, Jerome Boateng has gone to Barcelona for £37.5 million. A couple of goalkeepers changing clubs as well. Muslera and Silerson, 2 very good goalkeepers, but Silerson's younger and Muslera's in his late 20s, I think. But still, goalkeepers go into their mid-30s, don't they? So they'll probably do the jobs for the 2 Italian sides, Napoli and AC Milan. We, though, have Chelsea drawn in the Champions League. So at Wolfsburg we were drawn Chelsea, at Chelsea we were drawn Wolfsburg, and now at Valencia we've been drawn Chelsea. So it seems that we're only allowed to play the same sort of clubs in Europe this year on FIFA, but we are top of the table right now. Real have a game in hand though and can go a point clear above us. Atleti have now played as many games as us and haven't been able to close the gap. Still 3 points behind. Sevilla, with their new goalkeeping signing of Hugo Lloris, have a game in hand. Barca have 2. So if they win those, then it will still be extremely tight for the top 4 Champions League positions here in La Liga. So this is the most competitive series we've had to date so far, with all of the other teams involved at the top of the table. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. If you are, make sure you drop this video a like rating and subscribe if you haven't already. Check the channel page for anything you may have missed over the past few days, whether it be this series, the My Player series, or the Career Mode RTG, which will return to you tonight, ? When is this going out? Thursday? No, it'll be My Player tonight. But I will be streaming tonight, so follow the link in the description to my Twitch channel. I didn't stream last night, but I will be streaming tonight, so make sure you head on over and drop us a follow on the Twitch channel. Hopefully you will enjoy. It's New Year's Eve. Of course, I'm not going out, so it makes sense to just continue with a normal stream and upload schedule. But that's all for now. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.